Hello and welcome back to Q Programming. My name is Sammarth, and in today's video, we'll be learning to read from a text file. So in the last video, we learned how to write to a text file, and I mentioned that you will see what all that content was that we wrote to the file in this video. So that's precisely what we're going to do right now. So the first thing we look at is three methods. So there are three methods that we use to read a file: is the read line, and the read lines method. All right, let's get started with the read method. So the read method reads a specified number of bytes or characters of data from the file. So let me zoom in here. So the syntax here is file.read n, and n is the number of bytes we have to read. Basically the number of characters we have to read. And we know that in ASCII encoding, which we learned in class 11, each character is stored as 1 byte. So n also represents in a way the number of characters. All right. So here's an example to see how to read the first 5 bytes of data or the first 5 characters of data. Okay. So with open file.text in the read mode, this is important. The R mode as file content is equal to file.read. So the content variable has the first 5 characters of the file as a string. So the dot read method returns a string, which is very important to know because these questions do come about the difference between dot read line, and dot read lines. So you should know that dot read returns a string always, and the n is the number of characters from the file that it outputs into that string. Okay, and now let's say that n is a negative number, then it'll read everything in the file. So if it's negative or there's no value given to the there's no argument passed to the read method, the data, all the data in the file is read by this method, and it will be assigned to a string variable. Right, so let's look at a quick example. So I'll go to the file.text that we created in the last video. So we have file.text. So with open file.text in the read mode as file, print file dot read. Now what this is going to do is going to read all the contents in the file. So I should be seeing here in my output the word Q programming, because that's what we wrote to the file in the last video. So as you can see, we have Q programming as our output, because what it did was, since there's no value given, it reads all the contents in the file. So it takes all those contents and it outputted them through the print statement. Now let's say I want to output the first 5 characters in Q programming. So that's Q dash P R O. So I'll say file.read 5 and it'll output Q pro. Now let's say I want to use a negative number. So let's say -10. Then you see, as we talked about, it'll output the entire content in the file as one string. And we can also check that string. So we use the type function. And when we, sorry, I forgot about the bracket. So you can see the type is a string. Okay. Let's move on to the readline method. So the readline method reads n characters in one line until the end of the line, and the end of the line we know is indicated by the \n character, right? So with open, in this example, we have a file.text in the read mode, and we're reading the first 10 characters in the first line. And now when we output the code, it'll be hello WORL. Since the content of the file was hello world, in this example, we have the first 10 characters in the file. Now, if no argument is provided, the entire line is read. Okay. So this is in some ways similar to the read method, but the difference is that the read method can read the entire file if no argument is provided, but the readline method reads only the first line of the file. So if you remember the last video, we made a file with dot write lines and added 3 lines to that file. So let's first look at what it looks like in the read mode, and then we look at how we can use the readline method in it. So with open file2.txt, R as file, print file.read. Let's see the contents. This is the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line. Now notice you don't see the \n here. Why? Well, there's just a case here because when we print that, the \n is read by the print function as just to print in the next line. So what we really want to see is the content. So we can't actually see the backslash n in the string. We'll have to look at the string itself for that. So backslash n is there. That's why we have a new line. Okay. Now let's say I want to use readline. Readline. It only prints the first line as a string. And now if I use 5, it'll print the first 5 characters in this line, right? This is this, and then there should be a space here. Space, this white space here is also counted as a character. That's why it's included there as a character. Okay. So that's the readline method. Readline also returns a string, and you can verify that also. Let's see, type. Type is string. Okay, the third method, read lines. So it reads all lines separated by the backslash n and returns a list of strings of each line. So basically, you can think of it as the opposite of the writelines method. So the writelines method, we had a list of strings, or it doesn't have to be a list, but we had a sequence of strings, and at the end of each element in that sequence, we had a backslash n. So in this case, we have the read lines. What it does is it takes all the lines and it turns them as a list only here. In this case, the list, and at the end of each element in the list is the backslash n. And if we give a number, it acts as the character count of the readline function. Okay, let's suppose we have the following file. This is our file in file.txt, and then we have the program open it and then read lines. So the content will be a list containing these lines. So we know that after hello world there'll be a backslash n so that it comes to the next line. So it'll hello world backslash n how are you in 2 separate elements, as you can see over here. And then we can split these into using the dot split method, etc. So if you want to split individual lines into word, we can use the dot split and other string method that we've been using in all sorts of programs that we've done in 11th and also in 12th. Okay, so let's move on to see an example. So with open file 2.txt comma r as file print file dot read lines. Okay, so you see we got a list of the strings in the file, and you can see here the backslash n is there. So we couldn't see in the last one because we printed a string. So when we print a string, the backslash n is decoded, you could say, when we output that string. So it takes the content after the backslash n to the next line when we are using the print method as well, print function as well. So here we can see we have a list of all the lines in the file. So we have 3 lines and we have a list, and all except the last are separated by a backslash n because we don't have any blank. If you had a blank line after that, there would be a backslash n as well. But here there are only 3 lines and there are only 2 backslash n's used because we didn't have a line after the third line. So there's no need for a backslash n. So you can see the read lines return a string, and we have the 3 elements, which are 3 lines. And yeah, that's pretty much it. These are the 3 methods of how you can read content from a file. So just to recap, we have 3 methods: read, readline, and read lines. Read and readline return a string, but read lines return a list. So that's a big difference between these. And then we also know that the read method, you can read number of bytes from the file. Same with readline, but only n characters in the first line. They're complete only in one line. You can't read from the whole file, but only in the first line. And then read lines, we can read all the lines, and it returns each line as an element in list. So these are 3 methods, and if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them. And also we have a Discord server, so join that Discord server and you can ask all your questions there. You can show us your code as well if you're having problems. We'll help you with that. You can solve those bugs for you. And then make sure to like this video and share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel because there are many more videos coming for file handling. And then also for all the other concepts left in class 12, we'll be having videos coming out very soon. So the file handling series is going on right now, but we will be coming out with other videos as well in the future. So make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you're immediately notified when a new video comes out, and you'll also be notified on the Discord server when we have a new video it comes out. And over there you get a link as well for the new videos. You don't even have to go anywhere else. You can watch it on Discord itself. So thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.